Vegas's $2.3 billion Sphere was supposed to be the future of entertainment, not just for Las Vegas, but for the entire world. When it first lit up the skyline with that massive glowing eyeball and those impossible animated faces staring down the strip, it felt like something straight out of science fiction. For a moment, Las Vegas finally had a new icon powerful enough to stand next to the Bellagio fountains, the Eiffel Tower, and the Luxor beam. The Sphere didn't just look different, it looked unstoppable. But in 2025, behind the viral clips and influencer hype, this futuristic wonder is quietly becoming one of the riskiest financial experiments Las Vegas has ever attempted. The Sphere was never built to be a simple concert venue. It was designed as a destination, a place people would fly across the world just to experience once. That's why it cost more than $2 billion to build. That's why it was wrapped in 160,000 square feet of LED panels, turning the entire building into a living billboard visible from airplanes. That's why it was fitted with one of the most advanced sound systems ever created. Every detail was engineered to overwhelm the senses and justify premium ticket prices. The business model sounded simple on paper. Fill 18,000 to 20,000 seats every night with blockbuster experiences, charge luxury prices, and let the spectacle pay for itself. But Las Vegas history is ruthless to businesses that rely on novelty. Once the curiosity fades, the math has to work, and the math at the Sphere is starting to look terrifying. Inside the building, the experience isn't as universally magical as the marketing suggests. The visuals are breathtaking, but the seating is steep. The walls curve in unnatural ways, and the constant motion on the screens makes many guests feel dizzy or disoriented. Online forums are filled with people describing vertigo, nausea, and even panic during shows. That's not just a comfort issue, it's a business problem because it means many people only want to go once. You're amazed, you take your photos, you check it off the list, and you move on. That is a terrible foundation for a venue that needs repeat customers to survive. The Sphere isn't a casino, it isn't a hotel, it isn't even a traditional theater. It has one product, spectacle, and spectacle is hard to sell again and again. Casinos can survive slow nights because gamblers come back. Hotels can survive off conventions and tourism cycles. The Sphere has no safety net. If people aren't excited about the current show, the building is effectively dead weight that still burns cash every hour it's open, and the costs are staggering. The Sphere consumes massive amounts of electricity just to keep the LED exterior glowing. That giant screen that wraps the building isn't just decoration, it's one of the most expensive digital surfaces on Earth to operate. Every animated face, every advertisement, every moving images, drawing power and wearing down hardware that will need to be replaced sooner than anyone wants to admit. Even when there's no show inside, the Sphere is still eating money. Sphere Entertainment's financial reports already show the strain. The Las Vegas venue has posted operating losses. Revenues from shows and advertising have not been enough to offset the enormous operating and maintenance expenses. The company is essentially running a $2 billion machine that needs constant feeding just to stay alive. And the terrifying part is that there is no way to downsize it. You can't close half a Sphere. You can't turn off part of the LED skin. You can't scale it down when demand drops. It is all or nothing every single night. The programming problem makes this even worse. The Sphere cannot host small or medium events. It's too big, too expensive, and too technologically demanding. Every show has to be a blockbuster just to make financial sense. That's why they rely on mega acts like U2 or ultra-high budget custom films. But those shows don't last forever. When a residency ends, the building goes dark while the next giant production is prepared. And that downtime is deadly when you're paying massive fixed costs every month. Las Vegas is filled with venues that can pivot. If ticket sales drop, they bring in smaller acts, they run promotions, they host conventions or corporate events. The Sphere doesn't have that flexibility. A comedian cannot fill it, a mid-tier band cannot justify it, a corporate presentation cannot afford it. If the Sphere doesn't have a global headline act or a premium cinematic experience, it has nothing. The location only makes things more dangerous. The Sphere sits just off the main strip near the Venetian and the Convention Center. People go to the Sphere for the show, then they leave. They don't spill into a casino owned by the Sphere. They don't book Sphere hotel rooms. They don't eat at Sphere restaurants. That means the building doesn't benefit from the ecosystem that keeps Vegas resorts alive. It exists in isolation, disconnected from the gambling, dining, and nightlife that normally cushions big venues from slow nights. Even the advertising side is showing cracks. At first, brands were lining up to buy time on the Sphere's massive exterior. It was new, flashy, and impossible to ignore. But novelty fades fast. Advertisers don't pay premium rates forever. Once the building becomes just another glowing object in the skyline, the value of that ad space drops. And when ad revenue drops, one of the Sphere's major income streams dries up. There's also a looming technological clock ticking over the entire project. LED technology evolves rapidly. What looks cutting edge today will look normal in 5 years and outdated in 10. That means Sphere Entertainment will eventually be forced to upgrade or replace massive portions of the exterior just to stay competitive. That's not a cosmetic renovation. That's a 9-figure expense at minimum, and unlike a hotel, you can't renovate this building in quiet phases. The screen is the building. When it becomes obsolete, the entire structure loses its reason to exist. That's what makes the Sphere uniquely dangerous. Other resorts can age gracefully, they can rebrand, they can remodel, they can pivot. The Sphere has no identity beyond being spectacular. If it stops being spectacular, it becomes a $2 billion liability sitting on some of the most expensive land in Nevada. Timing makes all of this worse. Las Vegas is not growing the way it once was. Middle-class tourists are pulling back. International travel is unpredictable. Convention budgets are shrinking. The era of people casually spending hundreds of dollars on one-night experiences is fading. And when people start cutting discretionary spending, premium Sphere tickets are some of the first things to go. The Sphere was built for a Vegas that assumed endless growth and endless appetite for spectacle, but that version of Vegas is cracking. When growth slows, the most expensive, least flexible projects suffer first. History has proven this again and again on the North Strip, where billion-dollar dreams have collapsed under their own weight. The cruel irony is that the Sphere looks like success. It dominates social media, it lights up the sky, it feels futuristic, but none of that pays the bills. What pays the bills is repeat visitors, consistent occupancy, and adaptable programming. And right now, the Sphere struggles in all three. It isn't dead, but it is exposed. And in Las Vegas, being exposed is often the first step toward becoming another cautionary tale. The Sphere was built to be the future of Vegas, but sometimes the future arrives with a much higher price tag than anyone expected, and in 2025, that price may already be coming due.